Hello, I'm Lindsey Jonesman. I work at the University of Cambridge as part of the Take Your Place project, and I'm the highly able champion. So I'm involved with students where they are looking to make applications for competitive courses or competitive universities. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about how to make a competitive application today and some other things. So we're going to cover what are top universities looking for, what are supercurricular activities that might benefit a student's application, and then we'll also talk a little bit about work experience. So when we talk about competitive applications, there's a few different scenarios that might apply to. So for example, some universities have really high grade requirements for any different type of course. So Cambridge, Oxford, Durham, for example. Some particular courses at any university have high tariffs, so high grades generally. And that's, for example, medicine, veterinary medicine, law, those kinds of courses. And then some courses at certain universities are very competitive. So that might be where there's a lot more applicants than there are places available. So for example, physics at Durham University. And some courses might be competitive because they're popular, or it might be because they're not very common. So the places are actually limited in general. So some of those more really specialised courses that you might not get at all universities. So in general, what are top universities looking for? So the key thing that they're looking for in students that apply are those that have an interest and an aptitude in the subject. So those that have the good grades to kind of demonstrate that they have that aptitude, but also those that are really interested in subjects that they've studied or how those subjects can apply to a new subject at university. Often they want high grades. For example, Oxford and Cambridge are looking for A star AA for humanities subjects or A star A for science subjects. They're really looking for students who are enthusiastic for challenging ideas. So they're not looking for the final product, the polished student. They're looking for students that are just really enthusiastic and open to trying new challenges. Obviously, they want students that are motivated and committed to their course because they want the students that arrive to really succeed well on their courses. They're also looking for intellectual flexibility. So that's where they're not, again, looking for someone that knows absolutely everything there is to know about physics, for example, but they're looking for someone that can use their knowledge and apply it in a new situation. Problem solving and thinking creatively about how to solve problems are sort of the key things that universities are looking for. And for particular courses, they're also interested in students that have a vocational or professional commitment where that's appropriate, so where it leads to a specific career, such as medicine or architecture, for example. Now, supercurricular activities are really important because they help to demonstrate subject interest. They can develop research skills. They can show that the student can work independently. And they also help to demonstrate that the student is learning about their subject because they are really passionate about it and they're really interested in it. And they're learning that outside of the curriculum. So they're not just following exactly everything they have to do for their A-levels, for example, but because they're really interested in a particular topic, they're exploring that idea outside of the school day. And they can really help to strengthen a personal statement. So there's all different types of things that you can do for supercurricular activities. So supercurricular activities are anything that demonstrates a subject interest outside of the school curriculum. And they don't have to cost anything. There's plenty of free things available that you can do. So going to museums, obviously you can do that online right now. Going to university events, having a discussion group at your sixth form college or your school, watching documentaries, any online lectures. There's lots of stuff available at the minute. So TED Talks. There's also lots of websites that have different resources, and I'll kind of talk about a couple of those today. And also just being aware of like reading the news, reading articles, and kind of keeping up to date with any developments in the subject. So these are just a few examples of some of the online resources that are available. So HE Plus, this is a website that has been developed by the University of Cambridge, and it has resources on there from academics and from students, and they're all kind of about different types of topics. So you can go on there and look at different subjects and see what kind of takes your fancy. And there's also links to other resources on there if a student's interested, for example. This can be quite good if a student's not sure about one particular area. You can go on there and kind of see the sort of topics that might come up if they study that subject at university. Oxplore is another website. This has been developed by the University of Oxford, and that is kind of more about challenging thinking. So it will have sort of set questions and get students to think about problems in a new way. There's lots of news articles, podcasts, online journals, and then also webinars and things like that. So there is a lot out there that students can start looking at, and hopefully they're doing it because they actually enjoy it and it shouldn't be a chore. If they're really interested in a particular subject, then this is an opportunity for them to kind of find out a bit more about it. And also it can be helpful when making their application, because it will strengthen their personal statements, but also hopefully it will strengthen their decision-making process if they're trying to decide which subject they want to study. And also there's lots of university resources available. Lots of universities now have online lectures or open days or online sessions which students can just sign up to for free. There is a calendar available on the Take Your Place website, which should have a list of all the stuff that's kind of happening in East Anglia. But any of the universities, if you search outreach and then the university, then it should have a link to all of the kind of online stuff that's happening that you can sign up for. A little bit about work experience. So obviously it's a bit of a different situation at the minute. Now, not every course requires work experience. It's only selected courses that are asking for that. So that's for particular vocational courses. So for example, medicine and dentistry, having some relevant work experience is useful and recommended. And what that does is that kind of demonstrates the commitment to the profession that the student's applying for. So although they are applying for a subject, they're also applying for a particular career path. So what the universities are looking for is making sure that the student has really understood the pros and the cons of what it is actually like to work in that job. And also that they've developed the skills to help deal with some of those pressures in that career. Now, important thing to remember is obviously right now, lots of work experience opportunities have stopped or they've not been available to the same extent that they were previously. So it's important to remember that everyone is in the same boat, and lots of students across the country will be facing this prospect of not having work experience. Now, remember that all universities are obviously aware of the situation. All the universities will have updated guidance on their website. So it's really important to just check that to make sure that the most current and up-to-date information is available to you. Also, some of the medical schools council or the veterinary schools, the councils are updating their guidance as well. And they do have that available for you to have a look at and kind of see how you can show that commitment to the course and also the career. So there you go, I've got a few examples there. So you can have a look at those, and they have guidance that they've issued to the universities, and they'll also have that guidance for prospective students as well, so that you can have a look. And the important thing is to kind of really be creative in how you can demonstrate that. So there might be other opportunities that you can draw on to demonstrate your commitment to your chosen profession, for example. There are online experiences available. So if you have done that or you are planning to do that, then just make sure that the student is reflecting on that. So for example, there are online work experience opportunities for medicine students, and also for veterinary students that I've seen. But the value of that is really in reflecting it. So trying to understand what you have seen and how that will relate to a career in the real world. So really having a good time to reflect on the experience. What did you learn? What didn't you learn? Why did that person make that decision? How could you have done something different? What was the outcome? And things like that. You can also use any kind of experience that you have developed to demonstrate the values and attitudes of being a particular profession. So on those websites for the national councils, for example, they'll also have perhaps like a skills or a competency list, and that would say what they expect from a doctor. So you can have a look at that, and the students can then think, how can I demonstrate that I have reliability? That could be from a part-time job, or it could be from volunteering, or it could be from helping out at school. So there's lots of other ways that you can do that and demonstrate those values. Making sure that the student has really gained a realistic understanding of the profession. So that's really important. Universities really want to make sure that students are aware of that. One example could be that you look at carer stories in the news and kind of keep a reflective diary of that. So there's lots of stuff that's been in the newspapers over the last year, and you could kind of think about that, and kind of that can give you an understanding for students into the realities of what it's like to be in that profession and working in that environment. So a couple of examples. So Brighton and Sussex Medical School have a virtual work experience which you can access online. And then also have a look at the website FutureLearn. So this isn't just relevant for work experience, this is relevant for all supercurricular activities. They have lots and lots of free online courses, many of which have been written by selective universities. And they can range from study skills to learning about ancient history or veterinary medicine experience. So there's lots of free courses on there. So I recommend students to have a look there and see. And there's also links to other resources on that website as well. So lots of people might ask about, what about extracurricular activities? So these are a bit different from what I've been talking about, supercurricular activities. So these are kind of the non-academic activities, so sport, music and volunteering, for example. But some could also count as supercurricular. So if you were volunteering for St John's Ambulance, you could use that in a personal statement as a bit of experience towards understanding what it's like to work in a medical setting. It can also help to show that somebody is a well-rounded person. So although for some universities, extracurricular activities aren't as important, for some universities that might not be the case, but it can also help to show that you're a well-rounded person and not just focused on academics, because what universities really want is students that are going to come, take part in their courses, but that also are going to really thrive and become a well-rounded person at the end of it and get the chance to meet lots of people and kind of really develop their skills as well as the knowledge in their subject. And that does depend on the university and the course. So all of that information about what is relevant will be on those university web pages, or it could also be on the UCAS page if you have a look that way. So what kind of things can you and students do to prepare? So you'll be thinking about making applications at the end of this year in a few months. So there's a few things that I recommend Year 12 students can start doing now. So have a look at those university requirements now. It's never too early to have a look and make sure that you're studying the right subjects, that you're gaining the right experience. And then also remember, it's the chance for the student to decide if that's the type of university they want to go to as well. So have a look at the modules that are covered, have a look at the assessment methods, have a look at the practical side of it. Would they prefer to do a course that has more independent study? So it's never too early to have a look at that and get yourself prepared. It will also give you time to organise any work experience or portfolios that you need. So make sure you give yourself plenty of time for that, because some universities, like for veterinary medicine, for example, they specify a certain number of hours to be completed in the 12 months previously. So, you know, it has to be relevant and recent. So it's always important to just check that. It also is time for the student to start exploring their subject outside of the curriculum. So lots of students we find do that already, but they just don't realise it has a name of supercurricular activities. So this can be, again, anything. If you've watched a documentary about something on TV, that could be something that a student could use in their personal statement if it's relevant. So if there is anything like that that comes up that you think could be valuable, then make sure that they're just making a note of it and kind of thinking a bit about, you know, their thoughts on it as well. There's also an opportunity to sign up for university summer schools. So lots of the Sutton Trust summer schools are open now for applications, and that can be a really good opportunity for students to go and visit the university, hopefully if things work out okay for the summer. And it's a chance to see if the university is the right fit and if the course is the right fit. So there are eligibility criteria for that, which are available on the website, but I really do recommend, if a student is eligible for it, to sign up for it. It's completely free, week away for students to kind of meet other like-minded students and kind of get a little taste of university teaching, university facilities, and kind of see if it is the right course or the right university for them. There are also resources available on our website. And so, for example, this is one which is relevant to Year 12, and it kind of covers a lot of stuff that I've done. It's an e-learning course, so it kind of gives you a little bit of advice and guidance and some resources that the student can kind of click through. Just some prompts to kind of get them thinking about a competitive application. It also has lists of examples of the additional requirements that some courses or universities might need. So you can kind of see there, for example, for an architecture course, you might need to submit a portfolio of work, and it just kind of gives you an overview of the types of additional requirements that might be needed. So you can have a look. There's also subject resources, interview resources, and lots of other things that will be on that website. And that is continually being updated with new resources. Okay, and that's it. So if anyone has any questions, my email is highlyable@takeyourplace.ac.uk. And if you're interested in finding out more about the University of Cambridge, then that is our website. Thank you.